With the Urban Avant-Garde project, it's been a very interesting journey for me personally. I have an arts background, particularly in painting and animation, and it was really good to meet Robert and Gaba when they came down.
I started this as a young boy with the age of 14, and I'm still going for it.
Pretty soon we had hatched a little plan. It was kind of in direct response to what the BBMP had commissioned for artists to paint entire stretches of public walls with a certain type of aesthetic and content.
I'm not focused on one style. It's always different methods or colors or whatever I'm interested in.
Within the artistic circles of Bangalore, there were a lot of questions that were raised about, is this good, is this bad, is this aesthetically correct, is this all right for the government to kind of like take over the public space like that? What do we as artists do? For me, it was more a question of how do we get across to people that this is not the only type of visual language or thought process that goes into art in a public space. With this proposal of trying to add a layer of socio-cultural awareness, neighborhoods become more accessible to walking and cycling and public transport.
Bangaloreans, we all complain all the time about how Bangalore used to be so pretty and the buildings used to be so beautiful, and but no one really does anything about it.
For the buses, we were trying to sort of promote this whole idea of using public transport, and that's where Bus Karo came from. It's sort of a pun on the enough is enough of the traffic as well as take the bus.
People will look at your art from a really short distance in public space. That's another reason why I think it's important that it's like large scale.
My pitch to them was, listen, can we also, along a walking route or along a cycling route, can we also embed nuggets of information about that neighborhood, what made it special to the inhabitants, what made it special to the city or to the country?
I've written Love Your City and reasons why, what you can do to, show your love and respect to the city by keeping it clean, using public transport. Basically what happens is people always tell me how great Bangalore is, and it's my first time. This is my first visit to Bangalore. And they always say it's a wonderful city, but then they also say, but the traffic and the pollution, So there's always that downside in their praise for Bangalore. So if we can change it, people won't have to, complain about traffic and pollution.
Work on artworks that made sense to them, made sense to the space they were painting in, and potentially made sense to the public as well. Graffiti or street art is still nascent in India, definitely in Bangalore. And so trying to find people who had already done that or who had a long history in that?
My own style is not graffiti. It's really informed from my training as a textile designer. So I tend to work a lot with like colors and layers and textures.
Trying to understand if certain types of styles or aesthetics could be manipulated.
I don't necessarily like to have everything planned out at 100% because I like to kind of surprise myself and figure things out as I'm doing what I'm doing when I'm, in front of a wall.
We always like to paint the colors in a very strong way, so not just putting one layer of paint. We used to put as many layers of paint until the paint is just really one color and nothing was shining through anymore.
For once, I didn't have to sort of get paranoid about whether my line was perfect or not, or whether all the detail that I had planned out and the image that I saw in my head was coming out or not, because it didn't belong to me, it belonged to everybody and we all did it together.
When I start working, I already know in which direction I want to go, which material I want to use, to try out, to make an experiment with.
George, how he's explored his both his visual and performative styles. Shiloh, really young, extremely talented girl. Her biggest work so far has been the launch of Koya.
Koya. It's a book on the iPad, and what it does is it basically uses technology, which I thought was getting quite usable and functional and dry, to really bring alive the magic in a kid's book.
Shiloh is, of course, very illustrative, but more reactive to the immediate community. If she's painting a train station, she'll talk about her experiences with Indian Railways and things like that.
Trains are something that's actually completely irreplaceable to the Indian system. It's almost like a running lifeline or a snake that kind of snakes across through the country.
So with Anya, she tends to work using projectors in her work, and I thought that added an interesting layer, like how she uses projected imagery and then translates that onto a wall as a painting. Ria's a very young artist too, and she's part of my collective. So we have the Jaga Juice collective. She has a textile design background that makes her quite interesting to this mix.
I follow a design process more than like an artistic process.
It was just great to meet people who were doing amazing work in different countries in the public space. I've been doing a lot of work myself in the public space.
This project with Jaga has been a very cool thing for me. That's something I, didn't know if I would get to do until I got to Germany myself. So being able to do that here, when I was, called in for this project, it without hesitation I said yes.
This was a really good opportunity to work with German graffiti artists, who all of which have different styles. So it was a really good learning experience.
I've been through all the stages of artist life, like the idealistic approach and the political approach and whatever.
When I'm sometimes illustrating, not only am I creating a world that one can kind of see, but also I find myself slipping into that world a little bit, and spending a couple of hours in these watercolor wonderlands, as I like to call them, and then slipping back out.
Bubble Bus is just a joke, like coming together in public space and clean up the streets while you use the bus. The smart bubble bus. A fresh smelling get-together bus with a lot of characters on it, and you find all types of figures that I met in the street or thought that would be nice to put on the bus, and so there are many different characters you will find on this bus.
paradiso su terra. This is heaven on earth.
That's what most people say when they see our high-altitude coffee estates.
I am so happy I came here. I always wanted to see where my favorite coffee comes from. And now I'm here. Coffees of India. Buonissimo. And I want to know everything about it. Where it's grown, how it's nurtured, and how do you achieve such diversity? Everything.
Well, I can't show you all that from here. We'd have to travel all over India for that. But if you want to know about coffees of India, it's simple. Just find Coffee Swami.
Coffee Swami?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. How do I meet him? Hey, Guru? Coffee Swami? Sir.
Mario, my friend. Welcome to India's largest coffee producing region. Robustas, Arabicas. This is where you'll find them all. With a special twist.
What's that?
A hint of chocolate and a dash of spice. Some of our coffee grows with oranges and has a tangy taste. Some of it grows with pepper. And some of it is flavored with cinnamon and cardamom. See? You know, in India, many different communities live in harmony. So do our coffees. They live in perfect harmony with spices, fruits, and herbs. They imbibe their delicious flavors and spice up your coffee with these exotic touches. You see, Mario, we grow our coffees in forests. We even create forests where there were none to grow our coffee.
Huh? Coffee Swami? What's the fruit you're hanging from now?
It's not a fruit, Mario. It's a vegetable. It's called chow chow, and it creates the perfect shade for our coffee. Mario, you are now in India's highest coffee growing region.
Oh, Swami. Thank you. You're very kind to return.
Come. Meet the people who look after our coffees. They're not just workers, they're caregivers. They sow the seeds with love in their hearts. They tend to the young plants and keep them free of pests. And they follow nature-friendly methods that keep the soil from being denuded. They do all this, Mario, so that you can taste the good karma of feeding back into the land everything your coffee receives from it. Mario, do you know what you would have seen here a few years ago?
Coffee Swami, you and your riddles. Okay, I give up. What?
Nothing. These hills were denuded, barren. Introducing coffee cultivation here has given them a new life. And it has given the tribal people a livelihood. So there really is good karma in our coffee.
Oh, Coffee Swami, I've got you at last. You're a very elusive guru indeed. I've been looking everywhere for you, but now that I found you, tell me something. What makes coffees of India so special?
No, the coffees of India are not just special. They are a diverse range of 16 coffees, each one unique and distinctive from the others. Our coffees were born from 7 magical beans more than 400 years ago. In the 17th century, Baba Budan tasted kave for the first time in Arabia. Amazingly refreshed, he wished to carry back some coffee plants to his homeland as a gift to his people. But the local law forbade it. So Baba Budan picked up 7 perfect coffee beans instead and carried them back to India. That's how the exotic coffees of India were born, with 7 magical beans and a dream in a holy man's heart. Today, carrying the wonderful karma and good intentions of Baba Budan, those 7 beans have blossomed into 16 unique varieties of coffee. From these magical beans, 3 of our finest specialties have emerged: Robusta Capi Royale, Mysore Nuggets, and Monsooned Malabar. You know, Mario, there is a very romantic story behind our Monsoon Malabar. In fact, you could say this coffee is nature's own creation. Many years ago, when coffee beans were being transported to Europe over a long voyage, a wonderful accident occurred. Monsoon winds caused the beans to swell, change color, and acquire an intensely mellow flavor that won connoisseurs over. Today, that magic is recreated by monsooning the best beans at Curing Works. Isn't that wonderful? An accident of fate has now become one of the world's most wanted coffees. As you can see, our coffees are grown in diverse conditions, lending each one a unique and distinctive flavor. In fact, the coffees of India are just like Indians, individually different but bound by one unifying spirit. They're all Indian. You can say that our coffees are our gift to the world.
So, these are Robustas from Coorg and these are Arabicas from Pulni, right?
As you say in Italy, bellissimo!
So now, I can be Coffee Swami too, right?
Not quite, amico mio. For that, you would have to be born 400 years ago.
Found what I was looking for. The magic behind coffees of India. No, all these different types of beans, each one distinctive, each one unique, but all deliciously Indian.